Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, home of the YouTube Silver Creator Award for surpassing 100,000 subscribers. Welcome. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the Mallorca Connection. We are thrilled to have you wherever you are joining us from in the world. Thank you so much for taking the time. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can have a successful and fulfilling life. And isn't that what we all want? That and inner peace, peace of mind. Joining me today is the star of our show. His name is Roland Friedl. He is our country partner for Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. He's also a very successful entrepreneur. He's been coaching some of the biggest clients in the world. He lives a wireless lifestyle that really rocks, and he also is an author. Let's welcome my dear friend, Mr. Roland Friedl, to the program. Hello.
Hello, JACALYN. Hello. Great to be back, and hello to our audience. Hello.
Hello, hello. By the way, we got a very nice comment after the show was over from someone. So thank you. We love your comments. Please continue to give them. Roland, you are here today with me, and this is the Mallorca Connection. And I know I ask this periodically, but for people who are thinking, I don't understand, he's in an RV, she's not in Mallorca, what's going on?
Okay. Yeah, first of all, I mean, that's globalization. That's what technical innovations is possible, is streaming TV from wherever you are. And yeah, I started with USA Global TV and Radio 4 years ago, from the very, very beginning. And I was streaming out of my home, which was at that time Mallorca. I've been living on the beautiful island of Mallorca in Europe, in Spain. And that's why the show is called the Mallorca Connection. That's the background of the name. And now I'm streaming from the road because a little bit more than 3 years ago, I moved into my motorhome in my RV, and I'm traveling Europe. So in winter, more in the warmer countries in the south, in summer, more middle Europe, North Europe, stuff like that. So yeah, that's the story behind it, because the Mallorca Connection is still there as we started 4 years ago when I've been living in Mallorca. That's the Mallorca Connection. Yes.
By the way, would you recommend Mallorca to people who are, I've heard it's beautiful there. What do you think? Is that a great place to go on a vacation, or is it a great place to live, or both?
Oh, good question. I mean, the Balearic Islands are 4 islands. Mallorca is the largest one. And that's a very good place to live there if you don't have to work there. That's what I always say. Okay. So I moved to Mallorca in 2008. And the reason for that is, to be honest, I already have been speaking Spanish. That's one thing. And the second thing is the airport infrastructure is perfect. You can fly from Palma everywhere nonstop, even to the US, nonstop flights. So, and at the time, I was really traveling a lot from my international clients. So I choose Mallorca as a spot to live, and fly from there to my clients and come back into my hideaway and relax. So for raising kids, if you're younger and having kids, raising kids, and maybe you work abroad, Mallorca is a perfect spot. So there are many people from over 100 countries or something like that. We have a lot of Europeans, also Americans, especially Europeans, where the family lives the whole year on the island. And daddy is Sunday evening or Monday morning flying out to his office. Maybe he's an architect or lawyer or whatever, to Cologne, to Munich, maybe to London, to Stockholm or to Paris, wherever, and coming back Thursday evening or something like that. So that's the normal way. So for living full summer in Mallorca is the best place. If you're a party person, in summer it's Ibiza. That's the place to be. And in winter, Ibiza also has a good energy if you want to do yoga and stuff like that. And then there's Menorca. It's a little British island. There's a little bit more rain. It's greener. This is a hideaway if you just love privacy and want to. So a lot of famous people go there. And there's an insight. Menorca has a commitment on the island of Mallorca. When you come with your private jet and you're, I don't know, a famous soccer player or an actor or whatever you are, what they always do is they organize a conference, a press conference with you when you arrive, with all the newspapers. And then the rest of the occasion, they let you alone, so there are no paparazzi. So you give them a press conference at the beginning, and then you go to your hideaway, maybe your private house or your hotel or whatever, the beautiful hotel. So Menorca is a beautiful spot just to be by yourself and your family and your friends. And then there's another very, very small island, Formentera. It has no airport, but you can go by boat from Ibiza to Formentera. So this was my place. When I've been partying too hard in Ibiza, I took the boat to Formentera to sleep 1 or 2 days on the lovely beaches and there in the hotel. So I highly recommend these 4 islands. Absolutely. It's beautiful there. Beautiful. That's why I spent 14 years there.
Yeah, it seems like it's beautiful. So thanks for sharing that, because I think your environment really is conducive to helping you with a good lifestyle, or maybe it's bringing you down. And if you look around wherever it is that you call your home, do you feel comfortable there? Do you feel safe there? Do you feel restricted, or do you feel inhibited? I think that when you love where you live and you love the environment that you're in, it's really a bonus.
Absolutely. I've always been living in cities. I'm born in Linz, and I've been studying in Graz and Vienna. And I found out that I love to work really hard and do a lot of different projects and stuff. But I also have to recharge myself, recharge my batteries and recover. And for me, I found out it's nature. Even it's like here in the mountains, or it's the seaside. And that's why I chose a few years ago to move to the seaside, and even sometimes I was only flying home for 24 hours. But my wife picked me up at the airport. We went to our restaurant where we always been on the beach, and no matter when my plane was landing, even if it was breakfast time or lunch time or dinner time, directly from the airport. It was actually the restaurant was closed from the airport. So I went to the beach, had a breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever time, and then I went back home, and I was really recovering. So I found out that the place where you live is also very important, and that's why I love with this lifestyle here. I'm still working. I was posting today on social media when I was swimming in a small lake. But it was just a break, I was working on my book that will come out in autumn, in not the European one, the German ones, on the American one we've read. I'm finishing this book this week, finally, after 3 years working on that. And I made a break, and it's a different if you have a lunch break in an office and you sit in an office in a town, in a city, downtown. That's not my thing. I walk out, I walk in the mountains, I walk to the beach, or I had a swim in the lake, and I need less break time, but because I recover much quicker. And that's very important for me, for my lifestyle, and also for my mindset, being in nature. That's what helps me best, reconnect to nature, wherever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Reconnecting to nature is really important. And what else would you say, if you look over your life, would you say that your life has always been fulfilled and successful, or would you say you attained it after a certain amount of time or accomplishments? How would you sum up your life like that?
Good question, Dr. Declan. First of all, I guess we have to make clear what we understand about success or successful or fulfilled. I think that's something very personal. Success can mean something very different to two different people. For me, being successful was always being financially independent, being healthy, and being successful, meaning it's not about that I can do whatever I want to do. It's more about I don't have to do what I don't want to do. But in general, for me, success, when you ask me about a definition, successful is reaching your personal goals. You're setting your personal goals, whatever is in business and private and sports, whatever, and you reach this goal within a certain time within a time frame that you commit, and when you reach it, whatever it is, then you're successful. When you reach your own goals, whatever it is, I think that's successful. For me, successful, as I said, was being financially independent, traveling, being free. The highest value for me is and most important value for me is freedom, being free, meaning making my own decision every day about every circumstance in my life. That's for me successful. And has it always been? No, not at all. No, not at all. There have been a lot of challenges. There have been a lot of funny roller coaster times. Well, when I look back in a retrospective, now it's as a funny time, but it was challenging. I failed in business 2 times. Absolutely. I learned a lot of it, but I failed 2 times. Meaning I went bankrupt almost 2 times. I got divorced, so I was not always successful in a common sense. But on the long term, I look back and said, okay, it was a roller coaster. It was a stony road, but I always come closer and closer to the end of my life and of this life. And I say, yeah, I have a successful, fulfilled life because I live the life I want to live. Not 100% perfect, but to be honest, I don't look for a perfect life. I think I'm perfect, imperfect. I will say like this. Yeah. And fulfilled for me means, just to end this, is being in abundance. And that's what I had to learn, because even when I was young, I come from a lower middle class family. There was not always enough money from my mom's side. So I want to be successful, make more money, first of all, to buy a nice car and, all this stuff, but also to support my mom. So my brother and myself, we supported a lot of my mom. We bought her cars, a new fridge and stuff like that. This was very important for me. So fulfillment for me meant, making money, all this material stuff. But the older I become, it was less and less important for me. I still enjoy, of course, a nice luxury restaurant, no doubt. My motorhome, it's a luxury one. That's not the tip. That's not the top pick. But for me, fulfill means that I don't have any deficiency. Meaning, it doesn't matter how much money you have, but when you still want more because you're not happy enough, you think it's not enough. You want more. You want more. You want more. It's okay to want more, but the question is, are you happy and fulfill what you already have? And we had this several times. I'm very grateful in the morning when I wake up. I'll be grateful and thankful what I'm having. So I focus always on the things I have instead of focusing what I don't have. This doesn't mean that I don't have goals and I'm striving for something. Absolutely, but I live in abundance because I'm happy what I have, and I know there's always coming more. But I learned, and that's my final sentence for this, is I learned chasing happiness and chasing material things is not the way to be successful and fulfilled.
Yeah, it's all about the chase. And some people love that chase. That, they might be chasing a partner, they're chasing a career, they're always chasing something, and they're kind of running around with their in a spin and a dizzy. And I think also being fulfilled can mean you feel fulfilled from within. You feel at peace. And that's really what I'm focusing on, because the universe typically is sending us messages or providing us with opportunities. Or some people can say that the universe is evil and it's doing all these mean things. And I think it's a matter of your mindset. And when something comes your way, are you grateful for it? Are you embracing the opportunity? And when you are with negative people, are you realizing that they're pulling you down and maybe it's time to let them go?
Absolutely. Again, it's always about the mindset. You always come back to the mindset. It's so important. Absolutely. And that's why I say the first thing in the morning, really, before I get out of the bed, I'm just grateful. This morning, always the same. I'm so grateful that I'm still alive. I become 61 this year. Some of my friends already checked out by a heart stroke or by cancer. I'm still alive, so I'm happy for being alive. I'm happy for being healthy. I'm happy. I live in my RV. I had a silent night. Nobody disturbed me. No police knocked on my door, and stuff like that. So I had a good sleep, very relaxed, silence, peaceful. I have my motorhome, my fridge is full, I have my dog, I have amazing good friends like you and others. I'm working on cool projects. I can decide what I'm doing in the day. So I'm just grateful for the things. And I don't think yeah, I need more. Of course, I'm working because I want to achieve more goals. That's not the point. But I focus on the things I have, because when you're chasing things that are running away, and what I learned is from the universe is you have to attract things, not chase things. When you attract things, they come to you. 100%.
Yeah, I think you really have to believe in it too. You really have to want it, believe in it, and then take the effort, take the steps to make it happen. And I see that every day. I think a question that would be helpful to answer for people when you think about what success looks like, many times people will focus on failure. They'll focus on what didn't happen, what should have happened, why it didn't happen, and now they're upset about it. And now they're putting all their energy into the failure. But you look at failure in a different way. Can you explain to us what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I started in school. I remember in maths, when I was 7 years old in school, and we had 10 question in maths. And I remember, I will never forget this. I had 8 was correct and 2 was wrong for any reason. And I was so shocked because the 2 and wrong, it was marked in red, and it was so overwhelming. Yeah. So they just covered the 8 correct ones. And I said, why is this? And I was asking my mom. I said, yeah, that's how school is working. They're focused on the bad things, like in the media. That was my very early learning about this. And I said, no, I focus on the 8 green ones. I focus on that. And I became a very good student in school. I had very good marks because I was always focused on the good one. And I was never overwhelmed or frustrated or whatever, because I remember I was not good in English, but I'm still have an accent, of course. But I changed school and had a different teacher, and he encouraged me to learn English and stuff like that. So that's from the very, very, very beginning that I look on the positive things. I look at the things that I learned. And I also, when I remember when except 2 of my businesses really failed, I made a lot of mistakes. But for me, it was a learning. I said, okay, it happened. It was I lost money with other people, but it was my fault because I trusted them. It was my decision to trust them. Yeah. And the learning for me was after the shock, you always go to a shock phase. Yeah. Of course, I'm shocked, no doubt on that. And it really hit my ego. No doubt on that. But after a while, I was thinking about it, and I said, okay, we had this discussion before, and I'm never a person about blaming somebody. It's always about me. And I was thinking, okay, this and this went wrong. Why did it went wrong? And I found out, okay, my skills haven't been good at this and this task. And I learned I focus on the skills that I'm really good. I make them even better and better. And for the skills I'm not good or I don't like to do, I outsource them and ask people and pay people who do them better than me. Because I found out that learning the new skills that I need for this and this and this takes me more time and more money than hiring somebody else. That was my approach from the beginning.
That's so valid what you just shared, because I remember growing up, you get the papers with the big red X's and whatever the marks were all over there, instead of celebrating what you did do right. And I think that going back to when I was growing up, and you and I are around the same age, except I'm a little older, is that I would remember when somebody would point out something about me that they didn't like, or something that I didn't do well. And then all I thought about was that instead of the other. It's that 80-20 rule of, in sales. Why not think about the 80% that's really good instead of wasting time on the 20% or the 10%? Now, also, that to me was a motivator to try to do better on certain things. But for example, computer science, I always hated, which is so funny because my whole life is about a computer now, but I always hated computer science and I just couldn't get it. I just couldn't understand it. And so I decided that was not something that I was going to put a lot of time in. I had to take the class in high school, but I wasn't going to beat myself up about it. Now today, I really understand it, which is kind of ironic. So
absolutely, absolutely. You know, in 2020, when this pandemic came over the world, I never had a website before because all my business clients came through recommendation. I never was asking for business. It always came. It started with Xerox, from there, and then it was all. I was always recommended. You know, when one of the Xerox managers left the company, they went to another company and had business. So in 2020, everything went online, remote work and stuff like that. So I decided to get a website. And a friend of mine, he knew somebody in Cologne, very nice guy. And I hired him for a Zoom session. I paid him 40 euros per hour to train me via Zoom how to build a website. And I was recording it, and I said, okay, because after I can see the recording, I can build my own website. I remember after half an hour, I said, stop it. I paid the full hour. Stop it. Doesn't make sense to me, because I listen now an hour, I record it, then I have to see it again and then again and again. I try to build a website. No, please, I hire you, build my website. I'm saving time, energy, frustration, and money. And that's what I always did. It's finding somebody who can do it better than you what you want to do. That's the best thing. And focus what they're really good in. I don't see, you know, in my industry, like working as a coach and a mentor, so many people are doing their own website, they're doing their own social media marketing, they're doing everything by themselves. And why are you hiring somebody? Focus on what you're really good. Focus on coaching people or mentoring people, and let everyone else do the work for you, and focus on that what you're good. I think this was my learning. But another thing is, but when you mentioned like the JACALYN celebrating, I started smiling when you talked, because something came to my mind. I forgot it totally. When I was 21, I did my driving license. Well, maybe you say, well, 21 is quite late, but the reason for that, you can do it in my home country in Austria. You can get it. Now it starts earlier, but at my time it was 18. But I was blocked for 3 years because I was always driving cars without the driving license. And I was 16 and 17, and the police caught me 3 times, and then I was blocked for 3 years. So I could make my driving license with 21. And when I was studying at the university in Graz, together with my girlfriend at the time, and we couldn't afford a driving school. So we learned it with friends that's possible, driving with them who have a driving license. And we learned the theory at home, but I didn't learn and she didn't learn. So we went to the exam and we failed. And we went in together as a couple. And the instructor said, you know what? It's not enough for both of you to get a driving license, but you could get one to share it. Of course, we didn't get one to share it. And we went out and we made a party and said, oh, at least we got one driving license together. Next time we try to get each, I'm shaking because I'm laughing. And next time we try that each of us gets a driving license. So I always celebrated small little successes, because they bring you closer to the larger successes.
Yeah, that's so important. And thanks for sharing your personal story too. That was fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think for anybody out there who is a coach or a mentor or a teacher, if you think about it, when you are working with someone, for example, when you're working with young children, whatever it is you say to them might have a major impact on them for the rest of their lives. If you tell them they're not good enough, or they're not good at this or that, why don't we celebrate what they are good at? And then maybe, as Kim Adele Randall, one of our team members, always says, I'm not good at that yet. And I love the yet. Yes. And then something else I wanted to share. My dad was a businessman, and he always told me that if you had your own business, you really needed to have a basic understanding of all aspects of the business, so that if you're going to sub it out, contract it out, if you have employees who are going to do certain things, you really should understand what that department is doing, because otherwise you have no idea if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they're just doing something that might be very unpleasantly reflected on the brand of the business. So what do you think about that? Knowing a little about each area to be smart enough to know if you're being deceived.
I strongly believe in this, because, you know, I'm not a specialist very deep in, but I'm very into many things. Yeah, I have a very broad experience in many things, but not too deep, because for me, there's, it's called in NLP, in personality, it's called, you can be very in detail or very global. I'm very global. I want to always understand the overview. I'm not very into details, except when I really go for something, I want to learn more and more and more I go. But in the beginning, I just want to get an overview. And I'm interested in many things. And in some things, like in health, like in men's work, I go deeper and deeper and deeper. But I have a lot of knowledge and experience of other things, but not too deep. The reason I do this is because I want to understand it. Because when I talk to a specialist, maybe I hire somebody who is very good in programming websites, for example, or in marketing or whatever it is. I want to have a basic understanding so I know if this person is doing a good job or a bad job, or this person is just a fraud. So I want to have a very broad knowledge about different things, so I can have a kind of control about the so-called experts I hired. That's the same in business. And I remember when I was a student, I was reading the biography of Henry Ford, of the motive company. And, Henry Ford, he was not a very sophisticated person. That's why the society at the time didn't really accept him. And there's a story, I don't know if you heard about him. They hired some press people in his office, and they asked him questions just to check his IQ and his knowledge. And so there was a lot of people around, and they asked a question. And I guess what Henry Ford did, he repeated the question just to get the understanding that he got the question right. Then he picked up the phone, shouting in his phone of some of his employees, asking to come in and ask the person to answer the question. And this goes on and on. Yeah, they ask another question. He shouted in the phone. Another manager employee from his company came, and Henry asked the manager, his employee, to answer the question. And then the people said, "Hey, that's not correct. Why are you not asking?" He said, "I don't have to, but I know the right people have to know the answers, and they have the skill." And I think if you think about entrepreneurship, it's not about us to be the best all the time, not this ego stuff. It's about have a vision, have a clear vision, inspire other people to become part of your team, and look for the best qualities of them. And you don't have to know everything, but you have to have a certain understanding that you make sure that they're delivering the real things that you really want. So you have a kind of control. What is also important as an entrepreneur, that you get feedback and control. And I believe that we have so many people who are expert in one thing and get lost in everything else. Of course, it's good to go to an expert when you have a certain issue, maybe a health issue, whatever, yeah, or you want to build a house. It's good when you have an expert, an architect, or whatever it is. It's really good, but we have so many experts and not enough people who have a broader agenda. That's what I believe.
I agree with that. I think also that when you know something about the department or about the project or about the task, and you're asking other people on your team to do something, they will have more respect because you understand what's going on, as opposed to you have no idea and you're just dictating or delegating things for people to do. So I'll give you an example. And I don't know when exactly it was, but Salesforce.com came out at some point, and it was a customer relationship management tool. It is that. And I remember the company I worked for, they rolled it out, and there were people who had been with the company for a very long time. They were super successful and basically said that they were not going to have anything to do with it. They weren't going to take the time to put the information into the database. And what ended up happening, and I thought this was really impressive, was that the senior leadership all went on to the platform themselves, which would make sense, right? Because they have the data rolls uphill. And so once they shared that they had gone on and the value that it brought, then other people started looking at it differently, because what they thought it was, oh, you just have more tasks for us to do, more busy work for us to do. So I think when you learn how to do it yourself, that really says something to the people that you're asking to do something with it.
Absolutely. And I think that the point is that that's a real leader. As a real leader, you have to start. But you can tell your people do this or do this, or you be a role model, and you don't. Again, you don't have to know everything as a leader. You just have to have a clear direction, and you have to have a certain basic knowledge about the industry you're working in, so you know exactly if these people are working right in the right direction, yes or no. But you don't have to understand the details. That's why you have your team members, and you can only trust your team members when you have a certain basic knowledge.
That's so
because
true.
otherwise you I'm sorry. Otherwise you do totally depend on them. And they can do with you whatever you want because you cannot say it's good or not.
That's right. That's right. And Roland, I'm not gonna go into specifics, but recently there's been a couple of things that have happened. I've hired organizations to do certain things, and I just got this in this one situation. I'm not going to say who the company is, but I got the feeling that they weren't doing what they said they were going to do. And so I basically took it upon myself to investigate and see if what they said I paid for was actually happening. And of course it wasn't. I just had this intuition. And because of the fact that I felt the way that I felt, I started doing some additional research, and I went back to them and I said, I hired you to do this, and you said this was happening. And it actually was not happening because the company you said you contracted with don't know anything about it. And by the way, if you want to know how to do it, this is how you do it. You don't even know how to do it. I researched it and I found out, and I hired you, and you didn't do it because you don't even know how to do it. So I think immediately they were kind of like, wow, this person, like, you can't take advantage of me in that area because I understand what the process is. That doesn't mean I'm an expert in it, but I know enough to know that you weren't doing what you said you were going to do.
Absolutely.
The collective.
Absolutely.
You that I'm referring to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's, again, I strongly believe to have a global overview about all the area you're working in. Absolutely, it's so important. That's why I don't know how it's in the US, but here in Europe it's quite rare. When you look in politics, we're not talking about parties like that. You look in politics, a person, a man or woman, doesn't matter. He's Secretary of the Defense, and then this person becomes Secretary of Agriculture, and later Secretary of. What does this person have to knowledge of? Two different things, agricultural defense, or what? So sometimes they really make, I don't know what it is. It's job rotation or whatever it is. I understand job rotation within an industry or a company. I understand that, but total different areas. And how does this person have any basic skills about what it is?
It's true. And you bring up a good point, which is also when we're talking about success today, but many times, especially in a sales organization, they'll promote from within. So you've been a sales rep, you're on your own, doing your thing, you hit all the numbers. And then at some point, somebody comes to you and says, hey, why don't you be the sales manager? So now all the people you were competing against, all of your team members, now they have to look to you as their supervisor and their boss, but you don't have any management or leadership skills. Your skill is you sell. I'm talking in general person. You're a professional salesperson. That's what you do. And then you become the manager and you don't do well. And it's obvious because A, you didn't have the training, and B, before you moved into that role, you didn't do any exploration, maybe talk to managers of sales organizations and find out what's involved, or maybe take a look at it and say, you know what, I'm really successful doing what it is I'm doing. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm going to take that opportunity. I'm going to decline it because that would involve a different set of skills that I don't feel like taking the time to learn because I'm after the money. I love the money. I love the awards. I love being called up on the stage. So I think that the person who's already successful then can be not as successful because they're putting themselves into a role they don't have any knowledge about.
JACALYN, I saw this so many times in all the organizations I've been training so far. The best in a certain field becomes the team leader, whatever title it is, manager, CEO, whatever. And these people get frustrated, but and then you, for example, when you talk about sales, you lose a good salesperson, you have a lousy salesman. It happens many times because most of my delegates in the past, when we talk about leadership training, they've been very good in the field they are. That's why they became the team leaders. They got some so-called management tools but they never had any leadership education or leadership training. And that's what really missing. And that's what I do. I do leadership trainings, not management tools. I never talk about tools. I do leadership trainings about how to inspire people that they follow you, the path you're looking for. Yeah, it's absolutely true. We don't have real leaders because we don't learn it. We don't learn it in school. We don't learn it in universities. And even in organization, yeah, and you know, always when I come to a new company and the first group in the seminar room, whether it's a hotel or it's online or on their venue, my first question is: you're here for free will, or you couldn't hide your head fast enough when somebody was looking for a new manager? They looked at me. Yeah, nobody else. And you know, many times people say to me, you know, I was the only one because nobody else wanted the job within the organization. I said, how do you feel? I said, now I'm there. My title is a better one. My company car is larger. My office is a little bit larger. My salary is larger, of course, is higher. But to be honest, I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. One story. I had a company. I don't talk about it anymore. I was training a company, and the manager went to a different company, and then his Vize became in his role, and his Vize, his wife was in the first training, and then he became the general manager. And I called him, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? I'm fine, and congratulations to the new roles and everything. That how can I help you?" And you know what he said? "Oh, Roland, I'm so happy that you asked me because I have no fucking idea what I'm doing here." He came into this role very sudden because his boss left the company very suddenly because he got another job in another company in the same industry. And he was absolutely not prepared in the new role. Absolutely not. He said, "Oh, I'm so happy that you're asking me," and I had more business. So yeah, there's a huge demand on leadership training. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great point, because many times people do have an opportunity to take that promotion and they're all excited, but then, because I know people this has happened to, year after year, they made the President's Club and they got the big checks, and then it's like, no, we really want you to go into this role, and then they were unsuccessful in that role and really wanted to go back to where they were. So I think it comes down to setting ourselves up for success, realizing, you know, I really feel that some people say it's a voice inside. It's that intuition that you get, that you know if it's something that you're supposed to be doing or not. I wasn't listening to that voice when I was younger, and now I listen to it all the time. But starting off from a place of gratitude, starting off from a place of peace, surrounding yourself in a peaceful environment like what you're doing all the time. I love the photographs that you share. I'm thinking, wow, that's really peaceful there. And if you happen to be in a city, I mean, I'm in a high rise. There's a lot of noise, but where I am in my home is very peaceful. I have it set up for success. And another thing is, I know people when they're driving, they want loud music. You'll pull up next to someone, the whole car shaking, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, are you finding peace with that? I don't know. So even in my car, I listen to very peaceful music, and I read peaceful books, and I just have a mindset of peace. And I think that is the foundation for everything else.
Absolutely. Right, because you mentioned music. I love music. But you know, since I moved to my motorhome, rare moments where I listen to music. Even when I'm driving, I don't put any very rare moments that I put on music. I just look around, enjoying the landscape, and feel, yeah, there's no more distraction for me. I love music, yeah, but I love to listen music actively or go to concert, but not just as a background, stuff like that. Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Some people, when they're driving, they have to have music on, or they have to be listening to an audio book, or they have to make phone calls. And what I'll typically do, if it's a short drive, I probably won't have any music on. But if it's a long drive, let's say when I was living in Florida and I was driving up here, I would have the 70s music on because I love to sing to it. I'd be singing the whole time. Yay! I love spinning classes where they play disco music. I just went to one yesterday. So much fun. But basically, I typically will not have any music. Like here where I live, obviously I'm broadcasting now, but when I'm finished and I'm going to be producing. There's nothing on. There's no music. Obviously, I don't watch television. I do watch Netflix here and there, or maybe Amazon Prime. I watch our shows, obviously. But I really feel I want to have peace in my life. So I've got to have my surroundings be peaceful.
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, I know we're coming to the end, but I want to mention something that I think that what I learned, and it's very, very important for a successful and fulfilled life. First of all, we mentioned this gratitude. And the reason for that is when you are grateful, then you're in a very positive and high frequency. All in the universe is about frequencies. Even when we stream our TV, it's on the frequency. When you pick up the phone, when we listen to the radio, or when you do a video conference, it's always is on a frequency. And we have high frequencies and low frequencies. And if you want to be successful, you need a high frequency. And a high frequency is gratitude, being joyful, love, being peaceful. A low frequency is if you suffer, if you grieve, if you're jealous, if you're angry, if you have anxieties. So that's so very, very important that it brings you in a high energy, because when you're in a high energy, you attract high energy. When you're in a low energy, you attract low energy. So gratitude is the first thing, because sometimes you're not very joyful or you're not very happy at the moment. But when you just think about the things you already have, the positive and even small thing, being grateful just rises your energy. And from there, I think about what I'm doing on this beautiful day, or maybe I think about what was beautiful yesterday and made me joyful. Yeah. So what I do in the morning is I rise, and during the day I rise my energy level and my frequency level, and this brings more positive frequency to me. And this can be business, this can be nice people I meet, nice opportunities, or I find a beautiful restaurant or a beautiful spot to stay and work and make my lunch breaks there. So that's very, very important to understand. You have to be in a positive, high energy. So I highly recommend, if you want to be successful, fulfilled in life, search about energies, what it does in life, what it needs to get to raise your energy, and what you can avoid to be in a low frequency and low energy. This can be a totally game changer, because most people have a lot of anxieties. They're are distracted by things, and the reason for that is because they don't have clarity about their life. And I think the thing is to get clarity. We need clarity. What exactly do I want to do in my life? That's the first clarity. Secondly, how I can approach this, how I can reach this goal. And then you take the first step and you're on a journey. And a journey is always fun. It's always adventure. Of course, there's a roller coaster. Of course, you never know what's behind the next bend, but you're on a journey. And a journey is always something positive, something exciting, something that you can learn, and it brings you closer to the goal.
What a great way to close out. Roland, before we go, I'd really love for you to share about the retreat that you have coming up.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there will be a retreat exactly about this topic. It's called Me Time for a More Successful and Fulfilled Life. Well, unfortunately, it's in German. It's in German. It's my home country, in a very, very beautiful venue. So if you speak German, from the 23rd, Thursday 23rd to Sunday 26th of October, October 23rd to October 26th, in a beautiful, beautiful venue in the middle of Austria, in Upper Austria. I will run together with a friend of mine, with Mika. We will run together this amazing retreat. And you will learn about clarity in your life, to be more brave, to be more successful. And the slogan is, come as you are and go as the person that always has been within you. We just support you to bring it to your outer world. Thanks you.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you for that. Very nice.
Thank you.
All right. Well, Roland, we are going to sign off for today. Thank you so much. We've had your contact details up, but for people who want to reach out to you, what would you say the best way is to do that?
The best way is check my website, rolandfriedl.com. I will spell it for you. It's ROLANDFRIEDL, rolandfriedl.com. That's my website. Check out who I am, if I'm a good fit for you. And if you believe that I'm a good fit for you, then send me an email at office@rolandfriedl.com. Then we make a call, and then I find out if you're a good fit for me, and we both fit together. Then let's work together and let's see what's going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Roland, we'll say goodbye to you now and enjoy the rest of your time there in that beautiful countryside. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the reunion show.
Absolutely. I'm very looking forward to that. Thank you for having me. All the best. And to our audience, don't forget, if you ever have done it, subscribe. More than 100,000 people already subscribed to our channel. Go to YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, and comment. If you have any comments, we're always happy to communicate with you. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you. Bye for now. Thank you, everyone, for watching, whether it's on the live or the replay. I'm very honored to say that Facebook has acknowledged me as one of their top rising creators again this week, which is terrific. And I do post a lot of content. I also have a social media marketing company that posts a lot of content. And it's important because we have so many different shows and so many different show hosts. But the message is always the same. It's to provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. So thank you for being part of that journey. If you'd like to have your own television show with us, we are expanding. We actually have 60 different shows now. Actually, a new one just came on, that's 61. And we are looking for people outside of US and English-speaking countries to do shows in their native language. So we actually have country managers that are established in different parts of the world. So if you're interested, you can reach out to us directly at info@usaglobaltv.com. Or you can go to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com, and you'll find the contact section there. So we're going to sign off now before our next show, but I wanted to announce that I am also doing a retreat with Mr. Philip Sykes, and the retreat is taking place in the United States in New Jersey. I'm going to put up a link for you here, and it is on the 18th and 19th of September. And we're offering all different kinds of packages. The purpose of the retreat is to teach listening skills as well as social etiquette skills. And we also have power networking. We have a private chef that's going to be cooking dinner for us. And we're also going to a beautiful English tea house. So if it sounds like something that you'd like to do wherever you are in the world, we're inviting you. There's a maximum of 20 people who can attend. Excuse me. So we have a few spots left. So please go to Eventbrite to this link and you can learn more about it there. We'd love to have you. All right, we are signing off now. Our next program is coming up. Thank you so much for being here and being with us. And thank you to our sponsor, Bay London. We'll be right back with our next show. Take care. Bye.
In a world that moves fast, there's strength in the woman who moves with grace. Introducing Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Each piece is intentionally designed for the woman who knows her worth, crafted from luxurious Italian eco-fabrics that feel as good as they look. With elegant coverage, effortless support, and timeless style, our swimwear celebrates both your body and your essence. Founded by fashion expert Kerry Sykes, Bay London is made for women who want to feel sexy, stylish, and seen. From poolside to beachside, sunrise to sunset, Bay London outfits you for every moment that matters. Because beauty isn't about age, it's how you wear your confidence. Bay London, confidence, elegance, effortless luxury. Visit baylondon.com. Act now for your exclusive friends and family discount of $35. Scan the QR code. Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Proud sponsor of USA Global TV and Radio. Get ready to wear the brand that's changing the world of media. Introducing the official USA Global TV and Radio online store. From our TV show hosts to our incredible global guests, you asked, we delivered. Rep your appearance with pride. Whether you've been on air, hosted a show, or tuned in, we have something just for you. Visit us at usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com and start shopping today. Check back frequently. We're dropping fresh new designs all the time. Showcase your role in our global community. These designs celebrate your voice, your story, your presence. It's more than just merchandise. It's a movement of hope, inspiration, education, and elevated listening. Head to usaglobaltvradiosshop.myspreadshop.com. Your spotlight awaits. USA Global TV and Radio. Elevate your style. Elevate the world.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USA Global TV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.